Hello learners, welcome in the classes of the company law. Today we will study the unit 1, that is company and its incorporation. The companies in India has been established since the East India Company came into India. The East India Company was a first sovereign company established in India. After that there were many type of companies. Then when Government of India Act 1935 came into power, they also passed the Reserve Bank of India Act, which is a statutory company or a sovereign company. Then there are multiple types of companies we come to know and we deal with them daily, such as Tata, Mahindra, Reliance. So these are companies. The history of the legislation of the Companies Act started when the East India Company Act was passed by the British legislature. After that, there were many acts. The first act to came legislated was in the year 1881. Later, in the year 1956, when the first time the Indian government, that is the Parliament of India, passed any act regarding the Companies Act. It was in the year 1956. Later, in the year 2013, the it, in 2013 the Companies Act totally replaced the older 1956 Act of the Companies Act. So the Companies Act is the legislation of the year 2013, and it governs the formation, regulation and dissolution of companies in India. So Companies Act is a complete act regarding the companies, their government, their governing bodies, the role of directors, formation of a company, shares and debentures. All the provision regarding the company has been legislated under the Companies Act of 2013. So now there are definitions in the section 2 of the Companies Act. The most important definition is the definition of a company. The company means a company incorporated under the Companies Act. Because the company is a legal person, so it has to be a statutory provision to incorporate the company. So company means a company incorporated under the Companies Act of 2013. And the company includes a private person, company includes a public company, and company also includes a one person company. This one person company mm, was added in the Companies Act of 2013. The concept of one person company was not in the Companies Act 1956. So what are the essential characteristics of a company? There are essential characteristics of a company which are separate legal entity. The company is a separate legal entity, such as humans, animals. So, same as humans, the company also has a separate legal identity. Limited liability. It is the essential characteristic of a company, which means the liability of a member is limited to the extent of their shareholding. It is not unlimited or uh, more than the shareholdings position. Perpetual succession is another essential characteristic of a company. Company cannot die. A life of a human being may be of 70 years, 100 years, 120 years, but uh, the company is perpetual. It exists even if ownership changes. Owners of a company, directors of a company can die, can become insolvent, but the company cannot die. So the company has a perpetual succession. Company has its own seal. Company will have its own seal, which is a legal entity, identity of a legal mark to sign in official documents. So company works under the its seal, which is unique. Types of companies. What are the different types of companies under the Companies Act 2013? In the Companies Act 2013, there are three types of companies defined generally, which is one person company. This is a new concept under the Companies Act 2013. In this, there will be only one individual member in the company. The one individual member company will be one person company. There are minimum seven members, and the shares are freely transferable, and there is no limit of maximum number of shareholders, then it is a public company. Public company means anyone any public to whom the share has been offered can become a member of the company. But the uh, guideline regarding the public company is that there should be minimum seven number of members, and there is no maximum limit, it can be unlimited. Then the third type of a company is private company. Private company means where the minimum number of members in the company are 2 and the maximum number of members is 200. So in the private company, on the basis of members, it has been limited from 2 members to 200. This is a private company. If there is only one member, then it will be one person company. If a company has a minimum of 7 members and unlimited maximum limit, there is no maximum limit. It depends on the memorandum of association or the resolution passed by the directors. There is no maximum limit in the Companies Act, then it will be a public company. So there are three types of companies defined under the Companies Act, which are one person company, public company and private company. So there are different type of classification on different basis of the company. So on the basis of ownership, there are two type of companies, private company and the public company. In classification, when on the basis of a liability, then the companies has two type of liability. One is the company with limited liability, and it is a most common form of a company. Then companies with unlimited liability. So in this type, there are very rare in modern corporate structure, because shareholders have unlimited liability. Their personal assets can be used to pay off a company debts in a unlimited liability. So on the basis of liability, there are two types of companies: companies with limited liability and companies with unlimited liability. So as we discussed, on the basis of ownership or the membership, there are three types of companies. One is the one person company and multiple person companies. On the basis of the formation, there are two type of companies. First is the unincorporated companies. When the companies work, means the persons together working together for the objective of earning money, and they have not registered themselves under the Companies Act, and they do not enjoy legal status, are the incorporated companies. And the incorporated companies are those which have registered under the Companies Act, and they have a legal recognition and a distinct legal existence. Incorporated companies, which means they become legal person. They can buy property, they can sell property, they can act on their own. There are some, on the basis of classification, there are other types of companies such as government companies and non-government companies. Government companies means the companies in which the government holds at least 51% of the share capital, means when the majority of the share is held by the government, then it is called a government companies, such as the BSNL, Bharat Sanchar Nigam Limited. It is a government of India company. Air India, earlier it was a government's company, but after the auction of the Air India, the Tata company has bought it and it has become non-government companies. So the second type of the company is non-government company, which means whose majority of shares is not held by the government. On the basis of the control of a company, the companies are classified in three types: holding company, subsidiary company, and associate company. Other special types of companies are foreign companies, means the companies which are incorporated outside India, but they must be registered with the registrar of companies in the India under the Companies Act of 2013. Then some other types of companies includes the special companies, which are the non-profit companies. They are the NGOs, sports working in the sports field of religion, science, charity. They do not distribute profits to their members, but they commonly use their profits to increase their NGO's objective. Now the companies are private and public on the basis of the members, in which the private company is the company which has a limited number of members, that is the minimum members are 2 and the maximum members are 200. And in the public company, and there are limit of only minimum number of members. In the public company there should be minimum of 7 members and there can be unlimited members. So the public company has excess of gaining public capital. This is why private companies converts themselves into the public companies. It has a legal basis for conversion in the section 18 of the Companies Act, which provides legal framework for the conversion of a private company into a public company. And the procedure has been prescribed, which says there should be alteration in the memorandum of association and article of association, and there should be a minimum number of members required, that is for public companies is 7 members. So there must have at least 7 members to convert into a public company from the private company. And there are special provisions regarding the board of directors for the public company. There should be minimum 3 number of directors in the public company. So as we discussed, there is step by step procedure for conversion, which is elaborated in the Companies Act, and it says there should be board resolution passed by the board of directors. There should be amendment of memorandum of article and association of article. There should be special resolution passed by the shareholders in the general meeting, and the application should be filed with the registrar of companies. Then the registrar of companies will issue the certificate of incorporation, and that is the change in status from private company to public company. There is an impact in the status of a company after changing from private to public company. The impacts are that the public company has increased shareholders. uh, Public companies has a limitation of minimum number of members, but there is no limit for maximum number of members or the shareholders in the public. So the public company has a impact of a increased shareholders. They have a um, more compliance requirements, which uh, makes company a reliable company in the public. And there are many other impacts such as transferability of shares, access of capital, enhanced access to capital, their brands gets increased visibility, they have greater flexibility, and their ownership basis becomes broader. There are some disadvantages of conversion from private company to public company, and the disadvantages may be uh, the increased regulatory scrutiny. There is more regulatory provisions for the public company. In conversion, it involves legal compliance and registration, so which can cost the company. And in the public company there is a loss of control. In the public company there are more number of directors and shareholders due to the dilution of control. uh, the existing promoter shareholders may face the loss of a control. There is online ongoing compliance costs. So the conclusion is the company can be of three types: one person company, private company in which there is minimum requirement of members is 2 and maximum is 200, and for the public company the minimum requirement is 7 and the maximum requirement is 2, unlimited. Maximum requirement is unlimited, there is no maximum limit in the membership of a public company. And the private companies can convert themselves from the status of a private company to public company. Similarly, the public companies can also convert themselves into the private company, and this legal basis of conversion is envisaged in the section 14 of the Companies Act 2013. The same requirements as the private company needs to convert themselves for the public company, the same requirements are for the private public company to convert into a private company. In this also, the shareholders resolution, special resolution in general meeting to convert the company need to be filed, and there should be alteration in the memorandum of association and article of association. Then the shareholding will be required. The members should be reduced to minimum 2 members to 200 as for private companies. In the private company, the private company cannot invite the public to subscribe its shares. So these are the conditions, and there is a step-by-step procedure for conversion from the status of a public company to private company, and they are the broad resolution, special resolution, amendment of memorandum of association and article of association, file with registrar of companies. Then the registrar of companies gives approval and issue a certificate of incorporation or the confirmation from conversion of public company to private company. The conversion from public company to private company also impacts, and the impacts are the reduced regulatory burden. Private company has the reduced regulatory burden. They have a shareholding restriction. Definitely, in the public company, the maximum limit of the members is unlimited, but in the private company, the maximum limit of members is limited up to 200. So there is a shareholding restriction. Third impact is the loss of access to public capital. The private companies cannot offer or raise funds from the initial public offerings. And a positive impact is the private company has more flexibility. They have less compliance requirements. They have enhanced privacy and control. They have reduced regulatory scrutiny and flexibility in ownership. Similarly, the disadvantages of conversion from public company to private company are: they lose the access to public funds, they become limited to the limited number of members which is for private company is 2 members to 200. There are another disadvantages such as liquidity issues, loss of prestige, dilution of ownership. So it was all about the companies, types of companies under the Companies Act 2013, conversion of private company into the public company, and the conversion of a public company into the status of private company. So this was a syllabus in the unit 1 of the companies law. So the companies law is a procedural and special legislation to govern, regulate the procedure and define the terms related the Companies Act. So to provide the legal sanctity for the Companies Act is important, and it has a special impact in the economic development and the growth of the country. Thank you for listening the lecture. Have a nice day.